Hey, hey, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev.
Good day.
Good day, my friend. How's it going?
It's going good. Okay, you
Uh,
slipped that one in there fast
I
too.
did. I was like, little.
I was like, I see you. I see you.
I know you're getting faster about it. So I'm like, how's it going?
That's right.
Is
Good,
that
beautiful.
controlling or what?
I, sure. I suppose it is.
It really is. It actually is.
Nice, nice.
So I'm like, well,
Consider yourself
if I ask her first, then I'm not put on the spot at the beginning. Right? That's controlling. Just saying.
nice. Nice.
Control shows up in interesting ways. But you know what? I'm in a space to recognize it and own it.
I was going to say, and I'm in a space of just peace and ease. I
Yeah.
listened to the Joe Dispenza's meditation this morning
Nice.
before this. Yeah, it's takes you into a peaceful place. It actually matches up with everything that I'm doing anyways.
Cool.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like that he presents questions. Gosh, for me, I feel like I could even go back and write these questions down and ponder those questions and just
Yeah.
ask and feel how they feel because they're pretty good questions. And so we would just recommend, if you have been listening to us the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about his Joe Dispenza's meditation. It
I'll
says
bring it up.
something
I'll bring it up so we know the name of it. I
which
just
is
go in and
funny.
do it. It's called Tuning into New Potentials Meditation.
Yeah.
And it's like 52 minutes long, just so people know it's not, but it's quite, yeah, I agree with you. When you get done, you're just in a completely different state.
Just relax. I would say that I feel just at ease. Like I don't have typically I'd be like rushing, okay, because we're doing this. And then after we do this, I'm gonna run and meet up with you. And then I've got to run and go pay rent. And I got to pick up Vivi, then go to the gym. And then, all these things, right? All these things. And it's like right now, none of those labels that's not happening right now. So
Yeah.
it really brings you more into the awareness, which he talks about, which is beneficial for everybody, and letting go of a lot of stuff and actually empowering you. So there's a lot to it. There really is. And of course the card, you had said that you had pulled a card while you were waiting for me to show up.
Yeah.
And then I pulled a card and it's 6 of Swords, but it says Ascension on it. So it's just kind of goes along with everything that I'm doing on a daily basis anyways. Even when we're stuck or because we kind of talked about that a little bit too. But even when we're in a space where we feel like nothing's moving, there's so much that's changing. If I look the same as I did yesterday, but I changed my thought about I'm going to free myself. I'm not going to. I'm free. I'm free. What do I want to do right this second? And like really listening to that, there is nothing else. It's only this right this second. It's only that second's already gone. It's only right now, right now, right now. It's gone. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
right. It's always right here, right now. And
Yeah.
it's so easy to get wrapped up into the old stories. And it's funny how the mind works because it generates. It's funny. I'm taking a shower this morning, and then it's like all of a sudden my mind started wandering to people that I have felt that have a discrepancy about me or have an emotional attachment about me, whatever. But I was thinking about that, and I was like, why is that coming in? Well, because it's trying to catch you to take you onto that little ride. And it's not, I don't have to go on that ride. I'm like, oh, I see you. I see you. Oh, so you want attention. You want me to pay attention to you. Okay, I can do that. Now what? So there's a lot going on.
But they're just a projection of yourself too. So it's like, how do I need attention? How do I need to
Yeah.
give myself attention? In what ways? I'm just trying to reword it. In what ways could I give myself attention so I show up better?
So it's just interesting. It's interesting how the mind can distract you sometimes out of the old patterns. It's not because the mind is bad. It's old patterns.
Yeah.
It's the old routines, the old things that you've always thought that have gone through your mind. You know, we've kind of talked a lot about like going through sexual abuse and stuff like that, but we see the world because we both have gone through some sort of a sexual trauma or abuse. And it just seems like my point of reference, because I'm speaking for myself, is so different than someone that had never experienced that. Like they don't have an understanding of it. And that's fine, but I don't have an understanding of it either. I don't have an understanding of it not being there because this is what I've learned. This is where I came from. Was one of the questions I had said to or something I had said to myself recently. And it's going back to that little girl before she had any trauma. And okay, well, when did that happen? What does that energy feel like? Because I'm telling you, it does. When I reflect back, it really has changed a lot of the way that I do things, the way that I am around people, the way that I don't trust people, the way that I've always kept myself at a distance because, well, looks like that person wants something too. Am I going to be able to, uphold whatever they want, even without even listening to myself? So it just changed my guidance system. And so here we are. I'm 52. I'll be 53 in just a couple of months, month and a half, not too far off anymore. And it's crazy that I don't have like, I want to experience certain things, but my experience changed the way that I see things. So I don't see things the same way somebody else does. So trying to be in that space, or not even trying to, because I'm learning the awareness and being right now is being right now, because then none of that story even applies. And it's just rewiring, right? Rewiring our old beliefs, creating new stuff, and then not holding on to any of the old beliefs. Defrag the system.
Right. And it's funny that you start talking about that because, well, I'll just share. These are this card deck that I pulled out of Spiritual AF. Yes, AF is adult language, just saying. And it says, call bullshit on your bullshit. And on the back, it says, want to get out of the rut. The first step is to get tired of the bullshit. Your bullshit, their bullshit, the world's bullshit. And today, honoring your sense of deja vu. Once you can spot the old shit, you can start to stop that old shit. It's like, yeah, it's just like the defragment, the rewiring, the reprogramming,
Yeah.
new beliefs, new habits, new patterns, right? It's like, I know I was sick of myself, my own shit. I know I was just sick of me. Like I would look in the mirror and I'm just thinking, you're a complete bitch. You have all these issues and you're hating life. This is not the way to live the rest of your life. And not knowing, right? Unless I took my own life, I have no idea when my last breath will be in this body. And so I was sick of me. I needed to change that. Because if I didn't like being around me, who else is going to? So yeah, it's really just calling yourself out. So like at the beginning, I'm like, hey, by me asking you how's it going with you, that was a control thing. And I knew it. Just calling yourself out. Don't, because it's easier. What I'm finding is easier if I call myself out on it, because if somebody else does it, then I'm like, what?
Because then it triggers your defense mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Automatically. Unless they can approach you now. I guess the way we would talk to ourselves, if we can approach ourselves differently, then people will approach us differently when they want to bring things forward. Because Freeman can tell me things and bring things forward, and the way he presents it, so he doesn't trigger any of those responses from me. Then I can be like, okay, and process it. Well, I don't. Then I can be neutral, and I'm like, well, I really don't know why I do that. I really don't understand. And then I'll start looking at it a little bit deeper. Why do I do that? How can it be different, or what could be different? Because it doesn't feel good, and it's things that we don't even recognize that we're doing, right? It's the patterns that we have been doing this whole time. Even though we've gone through so much growth, there's still patterns, there's still things that are there, and they start coming to the surface. So I guess for me, it's just looking at it and being like, okay, I'm open and willing to seeing those things that are holding me back with grace and ease, no matter how it's presented to me. I mean, and we can ask for it to be presented with grace and ease, but that's all control stuff too. It's trying, it's setting intentions, but it's still all control. We're trying to control an outcome, so it feels better. When I want to have an understanding of it and be able to walk away from, maybe not walk away, because that means that something is wrong and I need to drop it and walk away. Ooh, don't want any of that. No, it needs to be embraced. It needs to be surrounded with love.
Yeah. That's awesome that you have a partner who you're both open to those conversations and allow each other to bring that stuff forward, as long as it's not like begins to feel like nitpicking, that makes
No,
sense. And I don't feel like that.
that'd be triggers, right? That would be triggers. That would be
Yeah.
triggering you. So you don't want to trigger the person. So he's actually
Right.
teaching me and how to even be able to talk to other people without
Yeah.
triggering them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It,
Yeah,
it does make it.
because for sure, like you said before, it could put you on, depending on how it's presented, it could put you on a defensive type of behavior. Or it's always nitpicking me. I can't ever say anything without him saying something about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, so just having awareness around that, and everything we do it's about awareness.
It really is.
Awareness of yourself first and foremost. So if Bev says something, I'm like, Bev, you could probably say that a little better. Are you open to guidance on that? If I'm sharing that with her, I better be practicing that in my own life. And do I always get it in a good way? No. But I am open to recognizing, oh crap, I said it like that. I could have said it better. And we
And then
move on.
sometimes we'll say it. So sometimes I'll say something and I'm like, paying it, but you don't know unless you have an awareness. So if I'm paying attention to how it came out, it's like, ooh, that was kind of rough. And at the same point, who cares if I got triggered? Who cares if I got triggered? It's an opportunity for me to grow. So
Yeah.
it can be with the grace and ease or being triggered, right? So there is one way that he talks to me, and then he'll show me, and because he's learned not to trigger, because once he triggers and I shut down, I'll shut down right that moment. But then as time goes by, I'll sit and think about it, right? I'll sit and brew it, and then I'll start asking questions. Well, how could I have done that differently? Or how could I show up differently? Or gosh, why does that feel so bad? How could that feel better? Or whatever. Everything's an opportunity. It is, whether it's with grace and ease or not, really. And it's just how we're going to perceive it. I'm practicing that no labels, and it's showing up into me. I'd have to look and see what I wrote down yesterday, because stuff started flowing into me. But it's like labels of everything, labels of disease, labels of having to go to sleep, labels of, oh, I got to be in a hurry, like all these things. But the way that I'm noticing it is the best way to do it is to be in a space of awareness.
Yeah. And
Otherwise, it does feel like you're micromanaging, and I don't want to feel like I'm micromanaging. I just want to feel like, I don't want to have that much control. I heard someone say to surrender your free will to your soul. And I do that a couple times, and every once in a while I'd feel like, ooh, I don't know if I want to surrender my, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Then I would catch myself in that space. So I'm in between that space right now, really totally surrendering to my soul, because I want to do what my soul came here to do, not what I think that I want to do, not because why we've got labels, we've got channelers, we've got psychic mediums, we've got all these things. The thing is, we are all those things, but we want to label ourselves just like a name. And then we put ourselves in this tunnel that when you're just seeing that, you're not allowing all that it could be. So it's this whole journey. It's like, it's trying to figure out, not even trying to figure out, but it's just being in that space. And when it feels good, you want to find that space again. Of course, it's to find that space again, but not wanting it to be the same exact experience that you had before, because we got to be open for new experiences all the time, and things aren't going to show up. Gosh, it would probably be boring, I guess, if we went into meditation every single time and it was the same exact way. Oh, I know that I'm going to go there in 5 seconds, and this is how it's going to be. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe it is a good thing. I don't know. Haven't been in that space of it to go back and forth, because I haven't had that experience yet.
Mine's always different, so I don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, each time I've meditated, it's different. Sometimes it's like there's like these big ahas, and it really depends on how am I showing up. Like if we can go back to the wanting to control, wanting to have more information, like what was Suzanne E. Smith says, what do I need to know right now? That's one of the things that she'll ask herself in meditation, which is great. But when I go into that space, I find myself asking the question over and over and over again and not listening for an answer.
Yeah.
So it's just for me going into this space and just listening for an answer, not having an expectation of what's to come out. But also at the same point, knowing just like you do, well, I wonder what I could do a new class about. I wonder what would that look like, or however you ask your questions. And then you're now open in that meditation for all this information to flow into you, which technically you could do at any moment within a couple of seconds, just taking a couple of breaths and you're already there anyways, getting the information. You don't have to do the 45 minutes meditation, but I'll tell you, I don't know, it feels like it solidifies things better. It takes you out of that space longer. You dedicate more time to yourself,
Mhm.
to your journey. And that's what's important. That's what I'm finding that's important, because I haven't felt that it's been my number one goal in life, right? My number one goal in life was to get from point A to point B as quick as possible, get that done, move on to the next thing, get that done. And that's not enjoying life. That's not
Right.
for me, that's not thriving life. And I haven't quite figured that out, this whole thriving thing all the time. I'm a work in progress.
As we all are.
Yes.
One of the things that has come up a lot. So as you know, I'm getting ready to go on a big trip. Gonna be gone for a week, but it's like a big thing, right? And where we're going, there's been some discord in the area, not in the area that we're going to, but because we're going to another country. So um is the projection of other people's fears. And it's really been evident lately. They're like, oh, why are you going? And it just, so I just pulled back. I'm just not even talking about it with people. Like I know certain people I can talk about, like with you and of course people were going to visit and another friend. Like I know I could tell them and they'll be excited for us, right? But other people, like my husband got a phone call last night from his buddy, and his buddy's like, why are you going? Why? That's not safe. And he just projecting all this fear. And I'm like, wow,
That
how
is
often
well.
do we do that? I mean, even
Yeah.
myself, how often do we do that to others, that we plant those seeds that that's not safe, don't do, but it's based on my experience. It's based on what I went through with that person, right? Don't get associated with that person because everybody's association is going to be different and everybody's a vibrational match in some way. And everybody is supposed to get some kind of an experience or lesson from the interaction. So it's been quite interesting over the past couple weeks.
And then you get to actually see someone else's fears because they're genuine. They don't want
Yeah,
something to happen to either one of you guys, because then you're
right,
gone.
right.
What if you're gone? Oh my God, like what do you do? But that's the whole thing. That's why we're here. You're an extension. And the first thing you said when because you're where you're going to, that you said where you're going to, it's all about your intent. It's all about,
Yeah,
if you're on a soul level, if you knew that you were in danger or this could be not a good thing, it would just not happen. It would fall apart.
yeah, right.
So that's trusting our intuition. And I like how you pulled back and didn't start discussing it. And that's what we do with everybody, right? So when we have something that you've been in meditation and you got a message and you just know you don't share it with everybody because it's telling you that something's about to come to fruition. And if you tell it to people, then they start creating the doubt, right? So that these people, it's the same thing. You're talking to people, they know where you guys are going, and then they have doubt. They have doubt. So then that starts creeping into you. One little speck of doubt inside of you, and now it starts feeding this new story.
Right.
But my first thought is when you're going there, well, you're going there to create a balance in that space. So how can you shine your light even
Bringing
brighter?
my light, people. I'm bringing my light.
That's right. That's right. But that's exactly it. It's standing in your power and just being that light.
But you know
Gosh,
what?
just even
People would say, why do you need to go there and bring your light? Why can't you just do it from where you're at in your
well,
home?
you can, but you're going there anyways. You're already going there. So why not?
Right.
Maybe you can tell yourself, well, I'll even be stronger while I'm there because I'll be free. I won't be, because number one, you're not going to be doing the to-do list. I hope you're not doing the to-do list from one thing next to the next to the next. Hopefully you're just taking the week off and really giving. And if you're not, that's fine too,
Flowing.
right?
Yeah,
If
there's
you're
really
not,
not an agenda. We're just flowing. We'll see what comes up, what we do.
well, then that's all that matters. You're already in a space of peace, right? You're
Yeah.
already in that space. There's nothing needing you to do anything, to be anything. You just get to go and be in the flow, and everything. You create a ripple effect wherever you're at, wherever we're at in the world, even. And so now you're even creating a stronger ripple effect in that space, helping other people stand in their own power, not even knowing why. They don't
Right.
have to know why. They don't have to know why. And sending streams of grace.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating. It's fascinating how people they'll get into that space of worry. And hey, I've done it with the number one thing is with the grandkids and the kids, right?
Mm.
Okay, you guys can let me know when you get there. And that now I'm a lot more at ease about it. Hey, did you guys make it okay, safe? So I like to at least know that they made it safe. But at the same time, I don't have any control over a lot of this stuff.
Right.
I'm talking to another girl that's just a daughter to me, really. And yesterday, and she's talking about all this stuff that's happening and how the government's doing this and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, what can you do about it? What can you do about it? You can send streams of grace because everybody could use that. It doesn't matter who the person is. It doesn't matter how bad you think they are. You can send streams of grace. You can say prayers. Okay, then what? Like, okay, so that's what you saw. What would you like it to be? People are so afraid of this change. And I said, but what if what if these changes that are coming forth, even though these old things that we think that we need, these programs or patterns or whatever, it's just falling apart. I was just reading yesterday or just hearing about yesterday that they're talking about the Dalai Lama and stuff like that. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I'm not saying it doesn't surprise me about everything that they were having a conversation about. It doesn't surprise me because it's supposed to break down this is that year that breaks down the ideas that this structure is 100% true. You need to follow this person 100% and be all this. No, you take what you take whatever resonates with you, and you grow from that. It's not to follow someone and let that be your God. You don't follow that person around. So however this person is, whatever the truth is, it doesn't matter. It's what are you taking from it? And it's also recognizing, don't put all your eggs in one basket, I guess. Don't put all your focus on one thing. It can't be all about the Dalai Lama. It can't be all about Joe Biden. It can't be all about, it can't be all about all that stuff. Because then if it is, then where are you in this whole equation? What about you? How powerful and strong are you? Well, you don't know if you're giving all your energy and power away to those things and like, oh God, is that really true? That's sad. Oh, that's horrible. Sending out that energy instead of sending streams of grace and paying attention to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I tell people before, if you're watching the news and you see something the way that they're talking and the music and everything they're using to get you to have an emotional attachment to this outcome, rewind it, turn off the volume and watch it again and see what you get.
Yeah.
There's just so much there. This is a learning journey.
Yeah, we just had this conversation yesterday in my business mastermind that I'm in, and it was, what are the people in your similar line of business that you look up to? What are the qualities that you recognize in them that you like? And then implement those qualities into yourself, into your own being. So it's similar. I mean, all the, whatever, the world leaders, some of them, we absolutely know what we do not like about them, right? So that's
So
great.
what would you like?
What would you like? What do you want? What would be the opposite quality that you would desire? And then that's for you. That's like for your internal inquiry. That's for you to be and do better within yourself. That's for you to take the qualities that you recognize that other people have and put and utilize them in your own life. So again, people that you're witnessing that you might label as a bad person or wrong or an idiot or whatever that label is, there's still something to learn about them. You know for sure what you don't like about them. For sure. Well, what would be the opposite? And either you just create that list of what the opposite is, or you look around for those people to show up to show those qualities, those more positive qualities, stronger qualities. And then then they're the example of it, and you can take that and implement it. So either way, good, bad, or indifferent, in any of it, there's stuff to be learned. But again, we're human, and our main programming is to focus on the drama, focus on the negative, and give that more attention instead of using that information to create or shift or turn around into a positive type of. And again, using negative and positive labels, there's no negative or positive, it just all is. It really is. It's just an experience, and those people are just showing up the way they show up. It's the stories that we individually bring as we witness these people or these situations. So Bev and I could look at one person and I could think they're amazing, and she could think they're a piece of crap. Neither one of us are right or wrong. It's just the way the person is showing up and the way we're perceiving them.
From our own filter, right? From our own experiences. That's how we're perceiving someone, through our own experiences.
Yeah.
Because what do they say all the time? You don't know what you don't know. You just don't know.
And I might know more of a story about somebody and kind of have more of an understanding of how they're showing up in life. And Bev might not know anything about that person, just think, wow, they're just really a horrible person. And it's just not that way. We don't know everybody's story, and we never will. Even I don't know my whole story, and I lived my life, right? Because there's things in my childhood that I don't remember. I've blocked out. Whatever my psyche is doing to help protect me, I don't know. But I don't even know my whole story, because there are times in my life where I was so consumed by anger that I couldn't see anything other than what I was focused on. And I'm sure when I cross over and I get my life review and everything, I'm going to see my life from a whole different perspective. But right now, I have a story. That's the story I know. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. That's just my filter system, my perspective.
Agreed. And that's where the creativity is so important.
Yeah.
Creativity, because you're going to create the things that you want to create the way you'd like to see it in your mind. We've all forgotten that. Not all. There's been many that have forgotten that. I would say many, many, many have forgotten that. And it's just recognizing it, that we don't have to be in that space. But it's also, I think my card for this month or next month is leap of faith, one of the things, and it's not even knowing how to do these things, but I don't know how, but I'm just going to keep doing the stuff that I'm doing right now, because I know that it's leading me to that place, to the place that I want to be at, whatever that looks like. And then everything shows up till we're neutral with it. If we have any energy for or against something, it's going to keep showing up for us. But when we become neutral, it just kind of fades away, because it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't have to be there. We don't have to learn anything. By becoming neutral, you no longer have anything to learn from that space or that situation. It's just taking it one moment at a time.
Yeah.
It's not wanting to be in a rush to get to the next place. It's enjoying everybody that's around you, that's around you. And then as you change, you start noticing how people around you, they change, or they just disappear.
Right.
Because no longer do they have to play their part, because you don't need them in that role anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, she learned that. Gosh, I get to be so much lighter now.
Right.
I don't have to carry around all this stuff anymore. I don't have to work this, 80 hours a week and what would I do less? I would do less. Like I would work less hours and find more joy and then do other things and travel and play and take my grandkids with me everywhere I go and just have a blast. It was interesting. I was at the Walmart recently, and I don't usually go into Walmart, but I went in there and there was a little one and he was kind of crying. He's in a basket all by himself. He's got to be maybe a year, maybe a year and a half, sitting there, kind of dirty. And I see the moms. Well, there was a mom and someone else that was over from her, from the little one, and he like cried, and they're like, "Oh, just you're fine, just stay right there," and they're so far away from him, and it kind of was like, "Oh God, I would never leave my kids like that." But it's like, is that right or is that wrong? Do you know what I mean? Because the child was safe, and I don't know what kind of experience he's having out, from what I could tell. I don't know what he's probably being able to experience things a lot on his own, it seems like. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? One of my nephews, he knew he could climb up into the cabinets, find his food. From tiny little, all the way up to a certain age, he's brilliant. He's super smart. But I'm not saying that he didn't go through struggle early on, but now I'm seeing the growth of this child, how much he's changing or how much he had changed. So some of these things we think are so bad, and it's like, is it really that bad? Like, is it really bad if they're going to turn out to be so much stronger and independent and stand in their power? And maybe all along they came here knowing that they didn't want someone having, control over them, trying to tell them what to do, because we're not meant to be told what to do. It's great, right? Don't trigger the children. Just give them some ideas. Just plant some seeds. Give them some gentle guidance. Well, I'm going to go do this. Could it be easier? Yeah. To me, the easier part is guiding them into meditation. So when they have to take a nap, I turn on some meditation. There's so much, and I say listen to it ahead of time, but there's so much meditation that's on YouTube for kids. So much. There's like a huge amount of things to get them connected, to let them start listening. Read them stories. So that was something else. I kind of went from one thing to the next, but read them stories. Read them stories with pictures, read them stories without pictures. I think reading them stories, I think both, my grandson is 6 and my granddaughter is 4. They'll be 7 and 5 this year. But reading them stories like the Sarah books, from Esther and Jerry Hicks, those stories, but with closing your eyes and getting them to use their imagination to make it easier. So yeah, that's an easier on the opposite side of it. Because I was just thinking, seeing that little boy, of course, I wanted to go up and nurture him and take care of him and everything else, but it's not my space. And then he stopped crying because someone down the alley was, down the aisle was playing with a ball. And he's like, "Oh, there's a ball." And it's like, as soon as I came around the corner, he kind of stopped crying anyways. I just looked at him and smiled. Because I want him to know that he's being seen. Because right now he's trying to be seen, right?
Right.
Trying to get their attention. Because why? Because from the time that someone's a baby, typically everyone's got their eyes on them constantly, and they're talking to them, and they've got undivided attention. So then they still want that undivided attention, and then they don't know what to do with it when they don't have it, because we're not leading them with them themselves. And I don't even know what you would do with a baby like that. Do you give them less attention? You know what I mean? I don't even know what the right or wrong is on that whole thing. I don't. Do you play meditation the whole time? Or you just, and it probably has everything to do just with being in your own power, just being in peace. So you're not carrying anxiety, and you're not carrying all these things that you're not saying. So when they say, "Oh, Mom, what's wrong?" Nothing. And so they're not learning how to ignore their own emotions because you've learned how to ignore yours. I don't know. There's a whole lot of stuff in that whole conversation.
There's a lot of intricacy in that, because that child, that little is also carrying the energy of the mom.
Yeah.
Right. So that projection of fear. Am I being abandoned? Am I not being seen? Am I not being heard? Am I being ignored? Right. All those fears that she may have experienced during her pregnancy. And so, yeah, there's so many intricate parts, but the great thing is, as we're more aware of ourselves, we can plant those seeds for the littles, right? And help shift that energy. But also, as an adult, we have this thing called choice, and we say it every single conversation we have. We have this thing that's called choice, that we get to choose as an adult to change all that stuff within ourselves. We can't change the experiences that has happened. We can't go back and change that, but we can heal from it within ourselves to allow that peace to come into our bodies and our minds, so that we can sit in those moments of meditation or quietness, and allow that divine connection and receive that guidance, and experience more joy, right? So we're all born into the families that are going to help us learn and grow with whatever we came in to do. So there's going to be experiences that are very uncomfortable for the majority of the population. And as you get older, having the tools to create more ease in your life, you get to choose that. You get to take that and make that part of you. And I love too, I don't know if you've seen it on social media, but Donna Eden, she does Eden Energy Medicine. She is putting a program, she's put a program together for children.
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm like seeing every day, I see multiple posts, of course, paid advertising and all that, but I'm just like, this is awesome that they're directing this information towards children. Now, of course, it takes the parents to register for the class and get the information and implement it. So I think that's just huge. That's going to be so awesome.
That is awesome. And I think the parents should sit in on it too, because it's, what did I say a little while ago and what we talked about? You don't know if you don't know. You just don't know. But when you're listening to that stuff, you pick up tools and you find things that are beneficial. And guess what? Those things that are beneficial for your child are also beneficial for you.
Right.
If it brings peace to your child, does it not bring peace to you? So to me, that's such a value.
And sometimes even children's meditations, right? Maybe
Yes.
that's the place an adult needs to start.
100%. You're 100% on it. Really, that is the place to start. Because I have listened to a couple of the kids and I'm like, I like this one. I like it. Why? Because you're using your imagination, and they're not talking to anybody like they're a baby or any of that stuff. They're just starting at the basics.
Yeah. And we think, because as an adult, we think it's that whole I got to be good enough. I got to prove myself good enough, that I need to start where Amy and Bev are. I need to be at their level. What are they listening to? You know what? This Joe Dispenza meditation that we're listening to 10 years ago would not have resonated with me whatsoever.
No, me neither.
Maybe even 5 years ago. I mean, that's saying a lot, because we need the basics. We need to start at the basics. You didn't come into this world learning or knowing how to write cursive unless, you remembered your past lives. You're channeling your past life, but cursive is not an easy thing to learn. And we learned that in like 2nd, 3rd grade, 4th grade, somewhere in there for us anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so maybe as an adult, just pulling up meditation for kids, maybe registering for this Donna Eden Energy Medicine for kids. Like, these are fantastic tools for you to learn on such a simple level. And do it. Like, do it.
Because it's all about bringing our child anyways. It's all about bringing our child back to the experience of like surprised and delighted by everything that you see, mesmerized by it, checking it out, just really being in that moment. You watch a child there, you couldn't stop them from being in the moment because this you can't, because then even if you get their attention, they'll be on your attention for a moment and then they're off doing their own thing again.
Right. All the curiosity, all the wonderment, all the excitement.
And I say to parents, really listen to the stuff before you have your kids listening to it anyways. Just because you want to know, I listen to meditations before I'll do the meditation, because I want to make sure that for me, and maybe that's a control thing, that I'm listening to something that's going to be beneficial for myself.
And I get that because when I can't sleep, I'll just pull up a hypnosis type of like 3 hours or more, 3 to 8 hours, 3 to 12 hours, right there on there. And I'm thinking, and again, fear projected. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
if I fall asleep and then they start saying things that, well, is my intuition, is my spirit going to guide me to something that's going to do that to me if I'm really tuned in?
Yeah.
Right.
So being really paying attention to, or am I listening to my intuition, or am I just doing this? Because sometimes I'll just be like flicking through and just, okay, that's, and not even paying attention. When other times I'll ask, okay, guys, I need a message today just for me. And then something pops up that is totally a message for me, but that's because I had it asking for it.
Right.
Yeah. But you're right. You're right. If your intention and you set it up is good and everything else, it's going to be, the only thing you're going to be guided to is something that's good for you.
Yeah. But I mean, 11, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep. I'm just going to put on this hypnosis. So far, I'm good.
So far, I'm good.
So don't listen to Joe Dispenza's meditation, though.
Well, you can't go to sleep during that because you're actively involved in it, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I made the mistake of that one time. I was like, it was like the first time I listened to it. Like, this is probably pretty good. I'll just listen to this. And oh my gosh, I was like more awake after I listened to it.
Yeah. I hear that. And then I have some that knock me out so freaking fast that I'm not even able to be in that meditative space very long. So.
Right. That's so fun. But I mean, really just the kids, I'm just going to go back to control. When it comes to children's meditations and stuff, I listen to them first.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just do, because I don't want them, just because there's been a lot of stuff that's been out there that have been kind of grooming children and everything else. And I don't want to create confusion. I want them to go within themselves and figure it out, because that'll solve everything. Then it's not going to solve the consumerism. I find something else kind of interesting. I would listen to this Dr. Berg on YouTube, and he's got a lot of valuable information. For me, I was having water retention forever. And then he started saying, well, because you've got to have potassium and sodium balance. And that means having more potassium to balance out that sodium. And then learning about stress and how it dumps your potassium. And then your body wants to hold on to the water and the sodium. So now you're depleted of the potassium, so you're not finding balance. But I'm finding all this stuff, and he's talking about going into doing fasting, intermittent fasting, and your fasting could be where you eat in the morning and then you eat at night. But he's also keto. He talks about the ketogenic diet and all that kind of stuff too. And we have been taught for so long now. Let me back up a little bit. If you think about it, when we were cavemen, if we were all cavemen at one time, which from my understanding, that's what we've been told. So if we weren't eating 3 or 4 or 6 meals a day. You had a meal that day, if you're lucky, and then hopefully had something the next day and the next day and the next day, but it didn't always work that way. I feel like we are in a space that we have been guided into, which also is the consumerism, eating way too much, which is funny for me to say, because you're talking about a person that bodybuilding. So I was eating 6 to 8 meals a day. I was consuming over 4,000 calories a day to maintain, which I haven't been. So I'm not holding the the body the way that I was before. But I'm learning that all the stuff that we've been doing, this diet, like having the potatoes, and believe me, I've been the meat and potato girl my whole life.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to realize that maybe we don't need that so much. Maybe it is, and he's talking about it, it's the vegetables and everything else, because that would be the stuff that would be readily available to us. And like Freeman talks about, it's eating the vegetables of the season, not something that's been put in a warehouse for months at a time, that it's now coming out because this is the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's learning, it's all these things. And then when you start getting on top of those little things, you even start noticing you're lighter, you're connecting even better. You don't feel sluggish, you don't feel tired, you're not being kept up at night. One of the things he said is if you're having a problem and you're waking up in the middle of the night to go pee several times. Well, I was numerous times. And he says the problem is we're eating after 6:30. The problem is you're snacking from 6:30 to bedtime, and those snacks, carbs, sugar, are actually what's creating you the problem that you need to eliminate fluids from your body. So that's when you're going into the bed to do all that stuff, and it's disrupting sleep. So then when you disrupt sleep, you're not getting the full healing, and you're not getting that enlightenment. You're not getting into the REMs, and there's so many things that are happening with our bodies. And I've struggled with listening to this at first, because this has taken me a while, because I've been hearing this intermittent fasting. I'm like, okay, I tried, but I had my body in such a space. I had trained this body to be reliant upon, and it's not even necessary anymore. So now we're going further without eating. We ate yesterday, I think at 4, it was just before 4, we ate. And then I did snack on some crackers around 6:30 or 6:40, but then I didn't eat anything else after that. So I had my water, and not even excessive amounts, but I noticed a difference, even though there was a lot of chaos around here last night with the cows have been coming up on the property, and the dogs know it, and that's fun. But hey, the cows are my neighbors, so I'll take it.
Right.
They're peaceful. If the cows kind of get crazy every once in a while, like once every couple of months, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
it's
was
just being open to all the stuff, because that's all about change. And why is it coming into my attention? Because I've asked questions. How can I feel better? And he even talks about this fasting makes you younger. It promotes your human growth hormone factors. It does all these things because your body's not working so hard to process everything that you're dumping into it. You're actually allowing your body to become a finely tuned machine.
nice. Well, I didn't realize it until it was, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So it was brought into my awareness. I basically fast every night.
Oh, yes.
So, eat around 6, 7 o'clock. I don't eat anything till almost 8, sometimes 9 o'clock the next morning. I'm like, wait, what? I've been doing this whole time, and it wasn't spiritually guided. It has to be, because that is not something I was doing consciously.
Yeah.
But I am now, because now I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
But when I started changing my eating habits, I stopped the snacking at night, right after dinner. And well, I follow the rule that not to eat anything 3 hours before bed. Do I always get it right? No. Every once in a while there is a little snacky snack. But 3 hours before bedtime is when I typically stop eating, earlier if possible. And then I'm usually drinking water clear up to almost bedtime. So I do get up most nights, not always, but in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom just to pee. So thank you for sharing all that, because I'm like, kind of doing
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. It just makes a difference. And before, like I said, I couldn't go that long. And then your intermittent fasting is eating the once in the morning and then once in the afternoon, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then it's working your way up to being able to fast for a full day, not eating anything. So not eating anything all day, just fluids, and then all that night until the next following day.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it promotes it. It's resets your insulin. It just does so much for your body that
Right.
it's we have been doing, everything we've been doing, everything I have been doing this my whole life up to now has been deteriorating the body. It's been putting more wear and tear on the body. It's been putting more struggle on the body. Oh my God, if you saw how much food I would eat and then go to bed a couple hours, like a couple hours later,
Yeah.
and then I would wake up in the middle of the night and then sometimes I'd have to make myself a protein shake because I'd be that hungry.
Wow.
And why? Because every time you eat, you spike your insulin.
Mm-hmm.
So your insulin goes up because it's trying to process everything. So it's just not putting all that stuff in it. And I've been eating, and I know spiritually guided, yes. Because I've been eating broccoli. Before I would never eat raw broccoli. It had to be cooked. I couldn't. Bleh, bleh. And now it's like, no, I'm throwing it. I'm having a green leafy salad with broccoli in it because that is my crunch. I don't have to have the croutons, even though I did put crunched up crackers on it.
I'm not the crunch. I need crunch, so I'll add nuts or something to my salad to make it crunchy.
Yeah, but the broccoli I've been getting, I get it from the Smith store, and it's organic in a bag already, and it's got a nice crunch to it. It's good.
Right.
It's good. So it does make a difference. But this is stuff I would not have eaten before, so I know that I'm being guided to it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I tried to do this. I went at this fasting in a different way, and it was not working out for me. It's like, no, I can't do this. My body's like screaming at me that it needs to eat food. Like panically, like I don't feel good, like things are happening, but it's because I'm getting rid of those old symptoms. So I'm going to allow my body to do its thing.
Yeah, I
It's
like
funny.
the idea too of eating the vegetables and fruits that are in season.
Yeah. Because that's what we do, right? If we were out here growing, if I was growing my whole farm out here and eating, I would only be eating whatever I was growing during that
Right.
season. And there's only certain things that grow in the season. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
That's
just different information. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Exactly. Call bullshit on your eating habits. Just saying. I indulged myself last night and I was miserable. I was like, oh, why did I do this? Why did I eat so much? Why I am stuffed. And oh man, it was a good reminder.
Yeah, because then everything becomes sluggish. And a lot of times the reason that we snack and stuff in the evenings anyways, it's because we're freaking tired and we want to go to bed, but we're trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
We're trying to give the fuel something, or the body some fuel that's fast to stay awake for a while longer. Because it's too early to go to bed at 7 o'clock. I don't know. When it gets dark outside, it's like, I'm out. Like I can go right now. Let's just do it.
Yeah. Interesting. I get those I get those spikes in energy at night. Sometimes, and you just sit and you fall asleep in your chair and you close your eyes for like 20 minutes and then you're awake. You're good to go. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go to bed here like soon, very soon.
Yeah.
And then you lay there staring at the wall.
I
It's
just pass
interesting.
out. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun learning about the body and learning. And as life happens, there's different experiences that you're physically going to be reacting to in different ways. So just learning to navigate that's a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah. But you're all the while you're still getting to know yourself. You're getting to know how to navigate the suit with the suit on.
Yeah.
With your people suit.
That's it. So I would recommend, like this card says, call bullshit on your bullshit. Start there with some children's activities, meditation, music, Donna Eden's energy thing. No, I'm not getting any kickbacks, any affiliate stuff for promoting that. I just think it's amazing. There's kids yoga. So.
Oh gosh, and I'll totally push face yoga for anybody, honestly.
Face yoga and laughter yoga.
Yeah, yeah. And you can find so much stuff on YouTube and it shows you so many different ways and you'll notice differences. things will start changing. And then besides that, at the same time, you're giving yourself attention. You're paying attention to yourself.
And really what it's teaching kids too is to be joyful.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's the ultimate, right? And as adults, and like Bev was talking about, a kid's story where there's no pictures, where you have to use your imagination. Because how many adults, I know I was like that. You have difficulty connecting and utilizing your imagination and visualizing. And so use those kids' stories to do that. The fun ones, the lighthearted ones.
Yeah.
And I know that meditations do that. They make the kids think and visualize. So yeah.
Things that are so natural and easy for them. And even if it's a struggle for you, if it's easy and natural for your kids, they're going to create a ripple effect in the house for you too.
Right.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So do what you can with what you have in the moment and do your best. Do the best you can with it. It's just, that's all it's asked, right? My thing is to do and be better in each day, each moment, the best that I can.
Awesome.
And I'm not, it's not a nitpicky on my ass all the time. I'm just like, okay, well, that's how I showed up. How can I do it better? Or good job. You did a great job with that. We'll keep doing that until we know something better. Right. So it's just like, we're good. We're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great wherever you're at with yourself and in your life. And you just keep going.
Yes. Embrace your inner child.
For real.
And then let them lead the way.
Yeah. They're way smarter than we give them credit for.
Way smarter.
Way smarter.
Absolutely.
All right, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev. We'll see you next time.
Bye.